It's been 8 months since I came to US. And still, whenever people ask me, what made me take this decision? What made me come here? Away from my family, away from my friends. To a place where I was a complete stranger, where I didn't know anyone. And the simple answer that I give them is, because I wanted to change the world. So how do you change the world? Socrates once said, if you want to move the world, you need to move yourself. See, we need to do something. We need to take an action. We need to make a difference. I see people spending their entire time sitting at their homes and whining and crying about the problems in the world, but little time do they spend to do something about it, to make a difference. Let me take you a year back. I was in Pakistan and sitting at my house, scrolling through my Facebook, I came across this post about a woman, about a Muslim who was being mistreated in America. And in the comment section, I found these guys who were fighting and blaming the government about it and criticizing others for it. I thought to myself, are they changing anything? Are they making a difference? That day, I decided that I would do something about it. I would do something to remove all the misconceptions that people have about Muslims and about Pakistan. So I started looking up for opportunities. I started asking my friends. And it wasn't late when one of my friends told me about this program that allows you to study in America for 1 whole year. It's a youth exchange program that not only allows you to be a youth ambassador and represent your own culture, but it allows you to be a part of the American culture too. And as I was applying to this program, I got to know how hard it was to get selected. From 5,000 kids, only 100 get selected every year. But the feeling of changing the world and changing myself kept me motivated. And after a year-long process of interviews, tests, medical forms, and health checkups, I finally got the letter that I was selected for the program. I still remember the day I was leaving for America, and I saw my mom crying. It was the first time that I was living away from my family, to a place where I didn't know anyone. I was going to stay with people that I didn't even meet. But I knew that change meant coming out of your comfort zone, and only then can you make a difference. The first few days in America were surprising for me. All my stereotypes about America were gone. People are friendly and nice here. My family, my friends, the school staff, everyone treated me like one of their own. A month after I came here, I started giving presentations in my school and in my community. I once gave 20 presentations in a week, and I came across hundreds of questions, from sophisticated questions to simple questions like, do you guys have Starbucks in Pakistan? Do you guys have McDonald's? I once came across this question when a guy came up to me, and he was all serious. He asked me, do you guys ride camels to schools? This question made me sad and laugh at the same time. See, media has so much impact on our lives that we believe in everything it says. We refuse to see the world through our own eyes, away from the lens of the media. We refuse to communicate with each other. Sadly, the only entity in the world that is really working to make an impact, to make an influence, is media. And that is the reason why we rely on it so much. See, change doesn't mean that you'll get change in a short period of time. There'll be times when you would want to give up, when you would want to stop. I remember once I was in Santa Monica, and I was coming back after watching a movie with my friend. As I was walking by the street, I heard the sound of azan, the call for Muslim prayer. Of course, naturally, because I didn't hear the sound in such a long time, I was attracted, and I asked my friend if we could go and see it. So we literally ran over there. And as I was running, I thought there would be a guy who would be preaching about Islam, and maybe I would be a Pakistani there. But to my surprise, I saw a guy who was saying false things about Islam. He was saying how Muslims are terrorists and how Muhammad wanted his believers to kill all the non-believers. This was the first time when I was shaking in America. I couldn't speak a word. I felt like I was a stranger. I felt like I didn't belong here. I wanted to go away. But then I thought to myself, is this the reason I came here for? Would this change anything if I would just go away? So I went up to the guy, and there was this mic where people would come and make a comment if they had to. So I picked up the mic, and I asked this guy. I asked him, how can he compare a religion that came here 1400 years ago with an organization that came here 20 years ago? How can he call a religion that says If you kill a human, you've killed the entire humanity. If you save a human, you've saved the entire humanity. How can you call a prophet a terrorist that even forgive his worst enemies? Even his enemies used to compliment him because of his honesty and truthfulness. And as expected, this guy refused to believe anything I said. He was so covered by his bubble of reality that he wouldn't understand anything. And disappointed, I walked away. And as I was walking away, I still remember how this lady, she came up to me, and the way she smiled at me. And she told me how much happy she was to see me speak up, when most of us were staying there silently just because of the fear of rejection. And that time I realized that yes, I was making a difference. That yes, I did change the world. See, the moment I changed myself and I went up to the guy and I asked him, I became one step closer to changing the world. I guided that woman. I set an example. We need to be a light that guides people. 8 months in America, and I've given several presentations, and I've done 100 hours of community service. And I've changed perceptions of many people. Even my own host family, who used to think that Pakistan was an unsafe country for foreigners, are now willing to come and visit me. See, humans are the same everywhere in the world. I remember the first time when I went to church and I saw people praying and in peace and in unity, the comfort that I felt was so much similar to the comfort that I used to get in the mosque. I remember how I asked my host that if he would go to the mosque with me, and after the prayer, he remarked how in admiration he was to see people in such unity and such peace. 2 months left, and my journey in America would end. But my journey to change wouldn't. Because changing yourself never ends. Gandhi once said, be the change that you want to see in the world. See, we need to be in a higher ground to help someone from falling down. Remember when you go to an airport and just before the plane is going to take off, the lady, she comes and she instructs you that in case of an emergency, you need to put your mask first and then help others. Why? Because if you're both in the same problem, you can't expect to help someone else. I would go back and I would educate my people about how it's important to change ourselves, about how it's important to communicate with each other, how it's important to move ourselves and see the world through our own eyes. And as you change yourself, you're changing the world around you.